All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our next session. Where today we are going to be looking at Bootstrap, the Bootstrap script, and we are going to be creating a user in EC2. We are going to see why it is necessary to create a user in EC2, and then we are going to create one user in EC2. And from there, you will be capable of creating multiple users in your EC2. Yeah, but before we continue, let's look at our way far backward. We have gone through creation of the Windows machine, Linux machine. We have converted our key pair to PEM. We know how to convert our key pairs to PEM. And then we have configured our web server. We've configured our web server. That's what we were doing last week, and we were trying to do some presentation with it. We've configured both the Windows web server and the Linux web server. So I believe you know now how to configure your Windows web server and your Linux web server. So today we are going to be entering our next lesson, which is EC2 user. How to create an EC2 user. All right, before we go ahead, if anybody is having any question, please, here is the time for you to ask. Unmute and you ask.
Okay. Uh, so I wish to ask the difference between now it is clear to me the difference between a Linux computer and Windows, right? Windows
Yeah.
being a graphical user interface, right? So
Mm-hmm.
based on graphics, you can see images, visuals, and the rest, as
Mm-hmm.
well as Linux being a command base.
Mm-hmm.
So now, for the other flavors of Linux like Red Hat, what is the peculiarity with them that someone might be forced or be attracted to one particular Linux flavor like Red Hat or Ubuntu?
Yeah, sometimes the difference between the flavors of Linux comes with their repositories. Like I, for one, I prefer working with Ubuntu because I am so used to Ubuntu, and the the repositories of Ubuntu are always highly updated, and their commands,
Okay.
there's also a slight difference in their commands. You will discover that the repository of Ubuntu is called apt repositories,
Mm-hmm.
while the repositories of AWS Linux is called yum repositories. And then the repositories of the success are called, I think it is update, something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
the difference is in their nomenclatures and the way some of their commands are run. Okay, like
Right.
in AWS Linux, you want to open a file, the command is v. Like for example, if we want to open a file named let's, like what we are going to do right now, we are going to create a file and we are going to open it. If you want to open a file in Linux, the command that you are going to type is v. You are going to type this command like this, v, and then you type, let me increase it for you. If you want to open a file in AWS Linux, you are going to type the command v, and then you are going to give let's say the file's name was test. This is a command that will open a file in Linux, right? AWS Linux.
Yeah.
Now, but
Yeah.
if you are going to SUSE and maybe Red Hat, the file, to open a file, you will have but nano test. That will open that file. You see that there are differences, slight differences in the way their commands are being short. The commands of
Yes.
Linux are short in a different way, while the commands of Ubuntu are short in a different way. In Ubuntu, we can have to open this file, we just use touch
Touch. Yeah.
test, right? We can
Mm-hmm.
open it through touch, or we can open it through another command called cat
Cat touch.
cat test.
Cat. Cat test. Yes. Yes. Yes.
This file will open. Now, you
Mm-hmm.
should know the difference between the touch test and the cat test. When you open
Mm-hmm.
it with touch, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you open the file with touch, this one
Yeah.
creates the file and opens it. While this one just creates the file without opening it, please. While this one creates the files and open it at the command line for you to start writing on the file. Okay,
Okay.
so that
Yeah.
that is that is a difference between touch and cat. All right.
Okay. Yes,
So
sir.
so so the difference in flavor is just at the level of their repositories. Some have different commands in their repositories, and then
Mm-hmm.
there is a slight difference in the way the commands are being shot. The commands are different. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Any other question, please? Barton, are you on? Barton, are you with us? I guess there's still the issue of network in Bambili. Somebody told me, Barton, you are having a problem with Keeper. He left. Somebody told me he was having a problem with Keeper. Who is still having a problem with Keeper? I don't think anybody should be having a problem with Keeper anymore. Hmm? So Adija, you were talking. What did you say concerning your computer? Is your computer already with you?
No, sir, it's still disturbing.
What do they need to do with that computer?
So I was managing like that when I boot it, so it was not giving again. My network was not connecting to it again, sir.
You have to bring that computer. Let me take a look at it. You don't have to be attending classes without practicing. You forget. Hmm?
Okay,
Atten-
sir. Yes,
attending
sir.
classes without practicing is just like doing nothing. You will forget everything. On a single day, if you don't create more than 10 different EC2 machines and work on them and destroy them, you are not working. I mean, on a single day, if you don't create at least 10 different EC2 machines, try installing web servers, try working with them. If you don't do that every blessed day, you are not doing anything. And take down your notes. Remember that you are going to write an international exams, and this exam is going to be theoretical. So you have to keep on taking down your notes, mastering the practicals and taking down your notes. Okay? And guys,
Yes, sir.
I've been given a platform from by a company in France, which they are in search of solution architects and DevOps engineers. So as soon as we are going to finish, it's not going to be a matter of searching for jobs or whatnot. We are going to prepare you for your interview, and immediately you go to the platform and then you take your interviews as soon as possible. When you take your interview and you succeed, you go to the second stage of your interview where you are going to meet the real company executives. There you discuss with them, and when you succeed in that second interview, that is all. You are gone. So the platform was handed to me today, and I don't think even those who are in front of you, they still have some few classes to attend before they can attempt to go in for that. So I will crave your indulgence to concentrate more. Let's go fast so that you finish as early as possible and you start going in for most of these jobs. Okay, it's very important. All right, let us dive into our topic of today. We are talking about bootstrap. What is a bootstrap? What is a bootstrap? Now, remember that whenever you created your computer, when you created your computer, there is always a space at the bottom. Look at something, please. If I'm creating my computer, look at what is going to happen. I launch instances here. If I write the name of my computer, I set bootstrap. I take AWS and then T2 micro. I choose my key pair, dev key pair, take my security group. I mean, all these things are things that we already are very much aware of. Now, all the times we have been creating EC2 machines, we have been ending at this level, right? We have been ending at this level. Now, but we are going to go one step further. Click on Advanced Details. When you click on this Advanced Details, another space opens up right down. You move right down, you'll see a space here written User Data. You see a space here written User Data, and they'll tell you to enter user data in the field. Now, when we were creating our Linux, when we were creating our Linux server, when we were creating our Linux server, maybe Windows, there were a series of commands that we shot. We ran a series of commands in different sessions. These are the commands that we ran. Okay, these are the commands that we ran. The first command that we ran was we took sudo update, sudo su, that is we transform from a normal user to the super user. Next, we took, let's copy this one somewhere. We took sudo su. Let's put it somewhere in here. Sudo su. That's the first command that we ran. There was the second one, which was yum update. We ran this other command, yum update. There was another command, the third command that we ran was this, yum install httpd-y. We ran this command. And then we ran this other one where we were changing the, trying to change the repositories. We ran that too. Finally, we ran the command where our web server had to be installed. We ran this command. Now, we change the configurations through this command. We change those configurations, and then okay, after changing the configurations, no, before, okay, that's what I was looking for. Before changing the configuration, we started our server. Now, you see that we ran a total of how many commands? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 commands, right? In order to create a saver. We ran all these commands in order to create a saver. That means each time that we are trying to create a saver, should we be going and running all these 7 commands all the times? I mean, in the age of DevOps and in the age of computerization, that is a waste of time, right? We can gather all the commands together and run at the same time. When we gather all these commands, they become what we call a code. They become a code. And when we are running them as a code, they are known now as a bootstrap code. That means we are going to take all these commands like this, and then we put where? And then we put at this place where we call user data. When we put all the commands here, when the machine is being created, the commands are going to be fired at the same time the machine is being created. Now you will create your EC2 machine directly with your saver already configured. Your EC2 machine will already have a saver well configured. Okay, so if we want to make use a bootstrap to run this machine, here is a bootstrap that I'm going to give you in your notes. There's a bootstrap that I'm going to give you in your notes. The bootstrap script is found when you click on this. You get the code. So the code has been included in your notes. I've given it to you, but you can take your time and write your own code without any problem, because writing the code is just firing all the various steps of configuring a saver. Okay, it doesn't need any big thing. So so this is the bootstrap. If you look at it keenly, you see that all the stages that we ran, they are there. Sudo su yum update install y change directory echo that. So you see all those things are the same. Okay, so if we have this here, for the bootstrap to start automatically, we always begin it with a hash hyphen exclamation sign please forward bin forward bash in small letters please. Forward bin forward bash. This is what we start the saver with it. So this is what we call a catcher. It is going to hook when the machine is beginning, when the machine is booting. It is going to hook on the machine and compel the machine to run all these commands during boot up. Okay, so that is what we call a bootstrap. So if we copy this right now and we paste at the position of if we paste at the position of launching our machine, we paste here, you will discover that this machine before starting will have a web server with a web page already installed in it. And what will happen, what is going to be written in our web page? Let us write there first boot bootstrap script. All right, this is the writing that is going to feature in our web page. Okay, so we will not go again trying to configure a server by running one command after the other, one command after the other. So let us launch our EC2 instance. Remember that we have loaded the bootstrap at the level of user data. Okay, So we launch our EC2 instance and we test whether our server has been configured correctly. To know whether our server has been configured correctly, what should we do? What should we do? What we should do is take the public IP of our server. Here is our public IP of our server, and then you run it in the internet. That is our public IP. Let's run it in the internet and see whether we successfully created a server. It always sometimes takes some time to run, please. So you give it some time. Okay, you see it is now live. And what is it saying? First bootstrap script, right? That is the same thing that was in our configuration. So that is what we call a bootstrap script. Okay, that is what we call a bootstrap script. Now, that is for Linux. What about Windows? Can we also just have a bootstrap in Windows that we can run at the same time and the server is created? Yes, but I'm going to give it to you as an assignment. That is your first assignment since we started. A first task will be create a server with Windows using a bootstrap. I'm going to give you the bootstrap for Windows. The code is going to be available at the classroom. I'm going to give you the code at the Google Classroom where you always download your notes. The code is going to be available there. So you are going to use that code and you are going to create a Windows server using a bootstrap. So when you ever hear of a bootstrap, let's go through the notes and talk about bootstrap, please. I try to give some little writing about bootstrap. Bootstrapping allows us to write and put a startup script while launching an EC2 instance so that it executes automatically as soon as the instance launches. I mean, this is all what we are saying. As soon as the instance launches, that script also launches. Okay. So I have given you all the various steps of creating a bootstrap. Create a Linux machine, enter the name, set everything, and at the end, you go down, you put your bootstrap. Okay. Don't forget that in any server, the HTTP port must be open. In any server, the HTTP port must be open. If the HTTP port is not open, you are not going to get access to your server, please. In every server, at the level of your security group, open the HTTP port. There are a lot of even experts in the industry that face problems with networking, and those problems are always arising from the level of security group. If you can master your port, master your security group, master all the different types of ports, where they are and where they are running, you are fine. You are really super fine. Okay, so if you are creating a web server, make sure you open the HTTP port. When we come to DevOps, you will see that there are different applications that are using different type of ports, and you need to know the various ports for all those applications. Okay, so your notes is just simply the various steps that I have shown to you. And then when you come and you reach here, if you click here, you are going to see the code that we have used, and that will be all. Okay, so that is all about Bootstrap. Very direct, very straightforward, no bend. So I'm expecting you guys to create a Bootstrap script with Windows. All right. Any question, please, before we move over to creating an EC2 user? Any question? We've just finished with bootstrapping. Any question? Okay. In the absence of a question, let's hurry up before the rains actually pour down, because I'm very certain that when the rains will start pouring, energy will be taken away from us. So let's see how we can create um, a Windows user. Now, what is the idea behind creating a Windows user? A Linux user, please. What is the idea behind creating a Linux user? Now, when you have a computer, you have created a computer in the cloud, like this one, like this. We have created this computer in the cloud. This Bootstrap computer, it is available in the cloud, right? I am supposed to tell Adija to enter this computer. I'm supposed to tell Barton to enter this computer. I'm supposed to tell Declan to enter this computer. Will all of you that I'm giving access to this computer use the same user to enter the computer? No. What if Barton enters the computer and deletes something? How will I know it was Barton that deleted it? What if Declan entered and launched a program that was asked in the office never to be launched again? How will I know that it is Declan that launched that program, right? So in order to make sure that, because this could be a server that is running a whole school or a whole department of a company. It could be a server that is running a whole department of the company. So what should you do? Everybody should have his or her own user account in order to enter that server. Everybody should be having their own user account. So how can we create a user account for each and every one? Let's see how we can create that user account for each and every one. Okay. So first thing, we connect to our EC2 user. I mean, we had already created this EC2 user, no need of creating another EC2 user. So let us use this EC2 user and create an additional user and add an additional user. Now, we are going to use putty in order to add a user. But before we use putty, we will first of all start by using puttygen. Look at the steps very well. The steps are outlined in your notes. The first thing is we log into our EC2 user using putty. I launch my putty. How to use putty? I copy my public address. I paste here. Come to SSH authentication credentials. I browse to where my key is kept. I'm sure I am using the dev key. Open. Accept. Now you see, I can only log in as EC2-user. That is how I can log in. EC2-user. I've logged in as EC2-user. But now I want to create an additional user. Might be with my name. An additional user with my name. So the first command I would like to run here is, I would like to run the command user add. Then I'll write my name. User add, I can write clearance. I'm adding the user clearance, right? Let me bring the screen to you more. Okay, I'm trying to add the user clearance. They are telling me permission denied. We are in EC2 user. So if they refuse permission, when you are working with this thing, be very careful. When they refuse your permission, then you are not in the root user, you are in the normal user. And in order to bypass that permission, what do I need to do? I have to take the super user. And how do I take the super user? By sparking out sudo user add clearance. Now it fires without any problem, right? I have added a user called clearance. Okay, I've added a user called clearance. Now, since I've added a user called clearance, I have to move into that user now and start running activities from that particular user. How do I move into the user? How do I move now into the user clearance? In order to move into the user clearance, I will run another command again. This command now is sudo su hyphen clearance. This command is going to lead me now into clearance. How do I know that the command is leading me now into clearance? Because actually I can see clearance here. I can see clearance here like this. So that is how I know I am now in the user, the newly user that I've just created clearance. Okay. Now, since I am seeing the user clearance here now, what should I do? There is a file that I have to create, right? I'm going to create a file, and that is a file that I'm going to use in order to link my key pair to that user so as to give the user the privilege to have access to the computer. So I'm going to create a file called .ssh. We still remember how to make a folder, please, not a file, a folder. Make dir .ssh. When you create a file that begins with dot, I say what will happen to that file? It will be a hidden file. You create a file that begins with dot, it will be a hidden file and folder. So I'm creating a .ssh folder in clearance, right? I am not in the root user, I am not in the EC2 user, I am now inside clearance. I am creating a .ssh file inside clearance, and it is going to be a hidden file, a hidden folder. Now, the folder has been created after I've executed. The folder has been created. Now, can I see the folder? If I run ls, will I see the folder? That is ls that ran. I did not see the folder. Why? Because it is a hidden folder. Okay. Now, in order for me to see the folder, I have to run ls-alh. Now, that is when I will see that particular folder that I created, this folder like this. Now, I want to move into the folder. I move into the folder .ssh. I am now inside .ssh. How do I know that I am inside .ssh? There is this .ssh here. I am very aware that I am inside .ssh. Now, inside .ssh now, I can create a key. I'm going to create a key called authorized key. Touch authorized key. Without any space, please. Sorry, that was not the name. Touch authorized keys. That should be the name of the file that you are going to create. Touch authorized keys. I've created the file authorized keys, right? Now I have to open the file authorized key. I've just created it. I've not opened it. Now let me open the file now. V authorized keys. Now the file that I just created is now open. What do? I go now to Putigen. I go now to Putigen I open Putigen. I created this EC2 with what key pair? I'm going to load that particular key pair that I created the Putigen with. It should be the dev key pair. I open my dev key pair. In our normal usage, when we open it like this, we always save privately, but I'm not saving. When I open my dev key pair, I copy all the codes inside the key pair. I copy the codes inside the key pair from Putigen, and then I paste it inside. I paste it inside the authorized key that got opened. Before pasting, I press the number. Look down here, please. Down here, you can see authorized keys. Now, when I press I on my keyboard, it is going to change. That means I can now insert writings in the file. Right now, I cannot insert writings in the file. But when I press I in my keyboard, it is going to change. Watch what is going to change. I'm about to press I on my keyboard. You see now that it has changed to insert. It is telling you now that you should insert. Now I can right click and paste. Right? I have pasted now the key pair. When I paste the key pair, what do? I first press on my keyboard a check. There is one escape button at the top right of your keyboard, escape button. You first press the escape button first of all. You see that when I press the escape button, the insert disappears. And then I press control hyphen. Look at the hyphen that appeared down here. W, look down here. Cure and this question mark down here, right? When I do that and then I hit enter, that is save and quit. That's the meaning of that. Save and quit. Let me show you in your notes. These are the various steps, please. You are going to see all these steps. This is it. Save and quit. Okay. Now, I will need to change the ownership of my file and give others the right to, others have the right to read and execute, but they do not have that permission to write on the file. So I want to give everybody that permission. So I use change mode. I give 777. I hope you know the meaning of 777 dot SSH. 777 means everybody has all the rights. Okay. Did I find my .sss file? No. I'm giving 777 but to authorized key, please. Change mode. (777) to authorized keys. Good. The command ran successfully. Okay. Right now, I want to log into my EC2 instance using the new user that I've just created. Okay. Now let's minimize this other user. Now I can copy the same public IP, paste, authentication, credentials, and then I take now my key pair and open. Normally when it comes like this, what we write is EC2 instance, but what I'm writing now is clearance. They refuse my key. I knew they are going to refuse my key. The reason they refuse my key is because I changed the password, I changed Which key did we use here? We use the dev key. Yeah, I change the authorization of the dev key after I have created the dev key. So this is what you are going to do. It's good that you witness where there was a problem and how to solve the problem. Now, let us create another user and you see where the difference is going to be from the user I created. Let's create a user Paul. But before creating a user Paul, we come out from the user clearance. Okay. We enter our credentials. Okay, the first thing we do, we just follow the same rules as I've said. Go to user add. Let's create a user called Paul. Sudo user add Paul. Paul has been created. Su sudo su hyphen Paul. We are trying to move into the user Paul. We are now in the user Paul. We want to make the .ssh folder. Folder is created. Now we change the permission for the folder. Change the permission for the folder 777. We have changed the permission of the folder to 777. Cool. Now we move into the folder. Now we are inside the folder. The next thing is we create authorized keys. These are the keys that are going to help you link your PEM key, right? Authorized key is created. We open the authorized key. Authorized keys get open. We load the PEM file in our puttigen. We load the PEM file into our puttigen and we copy what has been. Make sure you copy everything, please. What have been generated, and we paste inside our PEM. Escape colon wcure and you save. All right. After doing this, we open a new session and try to see if we can link in now by the user Paul. Log in as Paul. Why is it that my server is refusing Paul? Let me check about our security groups. Our SSH is open. Traffic flows normally. Port 900 is open. Okay. So why should they refuse our new user? Everything seems okay. That should be the PPK. Did we load the PEM or the PPK? Oh, sorry guys, we made a mistake. We went and loaded our PPK and not the PEM. When you are creating, you have to load but the PEM and not the PPK. Sorry. It will not open. It will not open. Now this is what you need to load. Let me come back here. This is what you need to load. Enter. May delete all this and update it. Okay, this is what you are supposed to load. You are supposed to load but the PEM, not the PPK. So you open your PuttyGen, and then you load. You don't load but the PPK, please. You load but the PEM of the dev. So you change this one to all files, and then you see this is the PPK, this is the PEM. Load but the PEM. Good. Now you can copy but the PEM, not the PPK. Copy but the PEM, not the PPK. Okay. Let's try for Paul and see. Let's log in as Paul. It still refuses our key. Okay, might be our configuration is having a problem. Let's create a new EC2 machine as fast as possible without a web server. Our key pair, the same key pair, and this time around we do not have to use a bootstrap. Okay, our EC2 user is on. Let's give some time for our EC2 user. Oh, it is running already. So let's connect to it. This should be EC2. Now the first thing we update our YUM repositories. Now we add a user. Like to add my name. After adding a user, oh, I always forget to shoot sudo. Then we move into the user. While in the user, we create a folder. After creating that folder, we move into the folder. And then we create authorized keys. Create authorized keys. And then we open our authorized keys. And then we open our PuTTY-gen. We load our PEM. And we'll copy all these and we paste. We hope we've done it right this time around. Okay, let's try to get in now using our new user. So we're able to enter using the newly created user that we created. Sometimes when you create a server, the server locks up some ports that you have to reconfigure. So we are able to log in now using the new user that we have just created. The user is Clearance. Now we are logged into this EC2 as Clearance, not again as EC2 user, right? Not as EC2 user. And in this same machine again, we can also create another user. We can create another user, maybe go through the same steps again. Choose any name and add here, and just simply go follow all these steps. We are going to create another user. Okay. Is there any question, please? That is how we can create an EC2 user. The power of pause and reward and rewind is in your hands because the videos are going to be made available for you. So no need of me repeating over and over. You can repeat the steps as many times as you want. Any question, please? As I say, immediately after you finish creating your machines, always terminate them. It's very important to always terminate them. Whenever you finish creating your machines, you terminate them. Because if you allow it there, they are going to charge you. Any question, please? All right. In the absence of no question, I'll keep the bootstrap for Windows at the classroom. So you are going to copy the bootstrap for Windows at the classroom, and then you are going to finish the assignment, and then you are going to give me screenshots of what you did or a video version of what you did. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Good night to everyone.